G'day guys, welcome to lesson number 8. So today what we're going to be doing is looking at how to sort of debug your syntax, and we're going to do it in a really simple sort of way, and hopefully this will kind of make sense and give you an idea how to approach when you encounter a syntax problem, what to do, or at least an approach to take. It won't solve every problem, of course. Okay, so if we have a look at so let's say I'm just going to put it into the Excel sheet here a formula. So this is an if statement with a VLOOKUP statement in it. So this is something you would have done basically when you did the course prior in producing formulas in the previous unit. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to create a bit of a formula. Really don't care whether it works or not. Okay. Okay, so what we've got a formula in there, and that is something where we've got a VLOOKUP, and basically the first part of the if statement on the screen there is basically if A1 has nothing in it, if it's blank, then do nothing. Otherwise, do a VLOOKUP. Okay, so let's say, for example, that you want to do a little bit of code where you actually want to place that text into a box. So it's pretty simple, straightforward sort of thing, or it appears at first glance to be that. Okay, so if we have that, and I'm going to take a copy of that right now. So let's say we'll create a new sub. Oops. There we go. Okay, so we're creating a new sub and we want to do that. And so let's say we want to put that into sub test. And we're on worksheet. Worksheets, can't remember. It'll tell me in a second. Sheet 1. And we want to place that information into, and then we want to range. And let's say that we want to place it into cell D1. So I'm going to say range is D1. And we want to put in that text. I'm just going to, get that across so you can see it a bit more easily. There we go. Okay, so we're going to place that text in there. So we would logically, as you see with other things, we would logically put in talking marks around it and away we would go. Okay, so if we push play and we do that, okay, do we get exactly the same thing that we're expecting? And the answer to that is no. If we have a look closely at what the formula is actually produced, it's produced a single talking mark followed by a single talking mark instead of a double talking mark, which means that this is not doing what we're expecting. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to work out, okay, how are we going to fix this problem? Now, if you're thinking about it, what you'll realize quite quickly is because the talking marks are used to signify to Excel that, well, we've got some text coming that we want you to put into a cell or whatever. What it means is that it's a bit of a problem because it has talking marks. The text that you actually want to put in is the talking marks. So what we want to do is we want to work through, well, there must be a way to do it, but how do we do it? So the way that I always approach these things, so I'm going to put that as a comment for the moment, is we start with our good friend, the message box. Because the message box will show us exactly what it's returning. Okay, so if we just start with our little section here, nice and simple, I'll just start with that for the moment. Okay, and so what we have here is, let's see what it displays. So we're just breaking it down piece by piece and saying, okay. And so what we're getting currently, if we have a look at our sorry, I'm just moving the screen a little bit, is that we're still not getting exactly what we want. We're getting equals if A1, and then we're getting a single comma mark. So I'm going to go back a step, and I'm just going to try and get it to produce 2 comma marks first. If I do that and just go down to text, what we'll see is that we have no comma marks. Okay, so we've got none at all. So let's try and put another one outside and see what it does. We push play, and you'll notice that what it's done is it's added an extra talking mark even though I didn't type it. Okay, but I'm still not getting what I want. There's only 1 talking mark there, even though there is 3 there. So I'm just going to say, what the hell, I'll put another one in. Okay, now we've got what we want. Okay, now the next thing we want, so we're just breaking down piece by piece. So the next thing we want, and I'm just going to do it with an and, is we want the that, whoops, which one's the right one? Yeah. Okay, and then if we push out Excel, so we've got our little comma mark. Okay, so let's try putting in the next comma mark. Okay, so that's going to be, now logically, I'm going to put in 4. And the reason I'm going to put in 4 is 4 worked. It should be that there should have a talking mark outside and 2 talking marks in the middle. So let's see if that works. And it doesn't. Don't know why, just doesn't. Okay, you can see it's only giving us 1 talking mark. So maybe we might just try another one, see if that works. And there you go. So the logic there, it's got actually 5 or 6 of them there. So it's not completely clear to me why that works, but it does. So we can then move on and we can add the rest of our, hopefully the rest of our text. So that would mean that we would have, to save me actually typing it again. Okay, and let's see if we can get what we want. Okay, so I've just added it all in, put a comma mark on either side. Hopefully we'll just get this to go back and move this across so we can see it a bit better. All right, so let's give that a go. Okay, so that's now giving us exactly what we want. So it's giving us the talking marks, 2 of them each. It's then giving our VLOOKUP, and so we've been able to solve that. Now, as I said, you can see there sometimes that the logic, it doesn't always entirely make sense, precisely why you should be having 2 talking marks working. Okay, but even if you don't fully understand it, if you can just play around with the code and double check that it's returning what you expect, then you're going to be able to solve these problems more often than not. You may have a little bit of trouble and struggle a little bit, but that's okay, because it's one of those things where and this isn't obviously the first time I've solved a problem like this, but once you do, then it means that you're able to sort of move forward with your code, and even when you encounter things you don't quite know how to do. All right, so that's pretty much the lesson today. It was a bit of a short one. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do today, and we'll just go across to the second sheet, is we want you to create a VLOOKUP, and it's going to have the following information. It's going to have the following formula that we need to get the message box to produce a text. So it's got those double commas, but it's arranged a little bit differently. Okay, and I've also put in things like VBA. There's a couple of extra comma marks, so that will not be exactly what I've done, and you will have to play around a little bit. So that's your task today. Good luck, and we'll see you in class. Cheers.